Hi friends, it's Belinda here from BMakingJoy. Welcome to episode 51 of What Brings Me Joy, a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is where I share my knitting progress with you, and you help me to keep track of all my works in progress, the things that I keep casting on. And sometimes you get a sneak peek at some of the things that you are designing, like today you will get a sneak peek. I'm recording this on Monday, April 14th. Yes, 14th of 2025. And yeah, I have a finished object. I have a couple of WIPs that I've worked on. And I will keep track of the total number of items that I have. And I have some acquisitions. But let's start first with a life update. It's been 2 weeks since the last episode, so there's not a whole lot to share. And of course, if you're just here to see the knitting, you can use the timestamps along the bottom of the video to skip ahead. Okay, health-wise, everyone seems to be good, except that our youngest daughter has had dental surgery. In February, when we were away, she went to the dentist for a cavity filling, and she talked to them about a pimple she had on her gum. So they investigated. Nothing was visible, yeah. But they did an x-ray and found out that the tooth was decaying from the inside out, from the roots. So she arranged to have it pulled and implant put in. So last week and a half ago, she had that done. This is the daughter our youngest daughter that has Asperger's. So I'm so proud of her that she made those decisions herself while we were out of town, and she handled it all so very well. Now, they removed it, they did a bone graft, and they inserted a screw, now waiting for it to heal before they put a crown on it. The day after her surgery, she and I went to, the day after her surgery, I abandoned her and I went to the Calgary National Women's Show, which is an expo of different sales booths and some stage presentations geared towards women. And the only thing I bought there was an allergy relief tea. And I made a cup that weekend, and it was nice, but I don't know if it will replace my Claritin and my inhaler, but it was nice. And I met up with an old friend there. She had contacted me and asked me to meet her there. And we hadn't seen each other in about 15 years since she moved to the other end of the city. So it was so nice to catch up again. We checked out most of the booths. We ran out of energy before we did the last couple of aisles. And the lineup for the concession stand was really long. So we left and went to a restaurant for lunch, which was nice, quieter. We were able to talk and catch up. So I hope we don't go so long before we see each other again. And the next day after that, Ilana and I went to a yarn festival, the Calgary Fiber Shingding. We only intended to spend an hour there, but it took about half an hour to find a parking spot. The facility is a sports complex. It does soccer, lacrosse, there's a climbing wall, I think there's a YMCA, there's a library, and it's all attached to a high school. So it was very busy. So in the end, I dropped her off at the door and parked at the bank across the street and walked over. I made some purchases, which I will show you in the acquisition section, and I won a door prize, which I will show you in the acquisition section. That was fun. Ilana and I both wore our trainer cloaks, the pattern that I released last month. And we had lots of wonderful conversations about them. And yeah, Ilana was such a trooper to bear the crowds after her surgery so soon. But I guess she was well drugged. Anyway, we had a great time, and then as we were leaving, she asked for a lunch out. So it wasn't until after I ordered and sat down that I remembered it was a Sunday, and I was missing my congregation meeting that started at 1 o'clock, which was why we only wanted to stay for an hour, but we had so much fun we stayed. So it was a great day. Dan and I went to the Calgary Flames game this Friday night, the Calgary Flames versus Minnesota, and it was a really good game. There's only 3 games left in the season, and the Flames, well, they would have to win them all, and certain other teams would have to lose them all in order for the Flames to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, as that's not going to happen, that's okay with me. I'm not patriotic. I haven't checked the stats until this past week, and I can probably only name 4 players on the team. But I enjoy going to the games. I like watching the action, and I enjoy seeing how people react to seeing me knitting without looking at my hands. That's a skill that I am quite proud to have mastered, be able to do it by feel. And then Saturday was the anniversary of the death of Jesus. So I'm not going to get into the details on this channel, but you know that I am one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you ever have any questions, you can check out the website, jw.org. And that's all I'm going to get into on this channel. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of knitting. My finished object is on me. This is the Love Note sweater by Tin Can Knits. It's an oversized sweater, cropped. It can be cropped. I'm past my waist with it. Done on 6mm needles. It works well with almost any yarn, but of course the drape and fit of it is different depending on what yarn you use. This yarn is Queensland Collection Myrtle, a lyocell made from eucalyptus fiber, and it's really drapey, really light, really soft. The stitch definition, I don't know, they're very weird, loosey-goosey. So because of that, I did not do the short rows in the back. The pattern has a little shaping in the back, but I didn't think I'd be able to hide the short rows in this fabric. So, I modified the sleeves. I chose short sleeves because of the light fabric to make it a summer top. I just knit 2 rounds and then did the I-cord bind off. Make the nice little sleeve cap. I don't think that's actually in the Love Note pattern. I think I stole that idea from the ranunculus pattern. Anyway. So I did the sleeves and the neckband, and then before I finished the body, just to see how it was going to fit and hang, and from there decide how long it was going to be. I've got a few ounces left of the yarn. Yeah, it's been wet blocked, which really didn't improve it too much, but it softened it up. It feels really nice, and I'm looking forward to wearing it. We're going to Hawaii next week, so I'm looking forward to taking it there. Now, I wanted to show you, I showed you this last episode as a finished object. I just wanted to show you again my lightning bugs wrap. What a difference that blocking made. It opened up, improved the size. And I am twisted. Improved the size, it softened up the fabric. It fits really nice now. So that's my lightning bug design from 2021. I wrote the original pattern for worsted weight yarn. This yarn is a fingering weight sock yarn, superwash merino, nylon, and stellina, the metallic thread, from Poppy Yarn and Fibers here in Calgary, which are not currently dyeing. Their Etsy page says they're taking a break. Anyway, I just wanted to show you again because it's so soft and cuddly. This pattern was published before I started using a tech editor, but I will be putting it in her queue sometime soon. Right now she's working on updating my blanket slippers pattern and my flip top mittens pattern. Then I will send her the matching hat pattern. And soon I have a brand new pattern that should be ready for her. As soon as these old patterns get updated, if you previously purchased one, you will be sent the updated file. So far, there hasn't been any major changes needed to be made, just design and layout. Now, the only other finished object is another heart dishcloth. My work I do on the treadmill, I make dishcloths. I haven't been showing them much because as soon as I finish one, I just start another. It's an ongoing project, so it's never going to come off of my WIP count. This is I think it's called Pretty Little Heart, Simple Little Heart. But the designer is Heidi Kiermeyer. I will link it below. And I have a few here that need to go into my bag to give away to my friends. Yeah, that's it for finished objects. Let me gather my works in progress. I have 2 or 3 that I want to show you, and then I will share my new design. I'm going to show you the progress on my 2025 temperature scarf now, because this is the first time in my history of doing blankets and scarves, temperature scarves, that I'm completely up to date as of yesterday. April 13th, the high of the day in Calgary was plus 9 degrees Celsius. The day before was 8 degrees Celsius. Before that was in the high teens, so the purple was the high teens. And then it got cooler. We did have snow in between, but I just used the high of the day and just make 1 row for each day. Doing the knit sides only, and then sliding back to the end of the needle again to do just knit rows. And my tails, I'm leaving, tying them, and I have already finished attaching 2022 and 2023 by tying them together in the back. Sitting on the floor, hurting my knees and my back, but I got it done. And so next time I feel like sitting on the floor, I'll add 2024s there. And yeah, 2025 is up to date. Isn't that awesome? So I think that's all there is to say about that. I've been doing them since 2020. I've done temperature blankets 2 years in a row and then switched to scarves. So when I have enough, this will be a blanket. So it's the full length of a bed, I believe. I haven't put it on the bed to check. Well, not quite, but maybe about 8 or 10 years it will be a blanket. Yeah, that's that. Now, my sock purse project, I got a lot of progress on because we went to the game. I think last episode I showed you this sock, number 1, was half an inch away from ready for the heel. But for the game, I needed continuous work that I didn't have to look at. So I cast on the second toe using the other end of the skein ball cake. Yeah, this one's on the outside of the cake. This one's on the inside of the cake. I cast on the toe and then took it to the game and did all that at the game. It was a very fun game. And I got a lot of progress done. So this one's now, I think, an inch away from starting the heel. So the heels will have to get done before I go to another game with them. Well, I guess there's no more games. I'm not going to any more this season. Anyway, I am using the Glow Knee Socks pattern, that my pattern that will be released at the end of April. And yeah, I'm ready to start the heels almost. And then after an inch of the heel, you switch to a variegated yarn to do knee-high socks, or even above the knee socks. So Ilana has to pick out what color yarn we're going to use with that. It might be either the Masquerade color of the month from March from Ancient Arts, or it might be the Calgary hat trick colors from Ancient Arts. We'll see. But I don't know when we'll be working on that again, because it can stay in my purse for a little while for a row here and there until I get to the heel. The yarn, by the way, for that was Peyton's Croy in the color red. Okay. The third and I think final work in progress I'm going to show you this episode is my new design that I'm working on that I haven't shared yet. So, shh. This is design in memory of my sister. It's already graded for 9 sizes. The first draft of my pattern is almost written. I just haven't worked out the details of the button band and the collar. So it's a top-down cardigan. The design on it, hearts intentionally upside down, because when you've lost someone to death, your heart is turned upside down. We lost our sister 2 years ago to cancer. So I'm designing it so that you can use that one special skein of variegated yarn that you have. You can check to see how it's knitting up first, and then choose your solid to go with it. And I had posted a picture on Instagram last week of about 6 different color choices, because there's so many different colors in that yarn, and asking what people thought. And people were leaning towards the pink. Some who knew me chose the purple. The dark blue was a good choice as well, a popular choice. But majority were leaning to pink, and I was liking that idea because of the cancer connection. But when I went back to the store to purchase it, I looked at other shades of pink, and I came up with this one. I was looking really more purple on the screen there. It's a purpley pink kind of color. The colorway is called House Orchid. So it's looking far more purple on the screen now. But from a distance, it's kind of pink. Anyway, it's up my alley. So that's what I'm going to pair with it for the rest of the body, the sleeves, the button band, the collar. Yeah. But this yarn here is one of Ancient Arts Color of the Month from 2023 called Oracles of Delphi. I think that's all the details I'm going to share on that one, this episode. So let's update my WIP count. So I had 9 works in progress on the last episode. I finished the love note. The shawl I just showed you was counted as a finished object in the last episode. And I haven't started anything new except the dishcloths that keep going. So, can you believe my WIP count is down to 8 now? I think that's the lowest it's been since we started keeping track. But I will be starting something new this weekend. Because we're going to Hawaii for a week, I need a new airplane project. That will be a new pair of socks that I'm going to tell you about when I show you my acquisitions. So you might wonder, why don't I just take those red socks? Well, I don't want to lose those needles because they are both parts of a set. And who knows what TSA rules what TSA is going to impose on this trip. Yeah, it's crazy times, and they have eyed my metal needles in the past, so my goal is to take wooden or plastic, but I'll tell you my acquisitions. Anyway, there is a new pattern out that I want to knit along with everyone else. So that's the main reason I'm just itching to start this new pattern, which I'll tell you about in the acquisitions. And I will also probably pack this Tracy cardie to work on. My sister's name is Tracy, so I've been just calling it the Tracy cardie right now. So I'll probably pack that in my checked luggage, so there's less chance of my needles being taken away, because these are my good Chiago needles, and that's what I want to continue the project on. And I will probably pack my Go-Go Dynamo shawl, the 2024 mystery knit along from Stephen West that I haven't touched since our trip to Europe back in the fall. So it's still on wooden needles. So I will probably put it in our carry-on for our 3-hour layover in Vancouver. So yeah, let's get into acquisitions so I can show you what new stocks I'm going to cast on. I bought yarn and something else at the Calgary Fiber Shingding, and I won the door prize there. I bought something at Michael's. I have the color of the month for April from Ancient Arts Yarns, and I showed you the color that I bought from Ancient Arts Yarns to finish the cardigan design in. So, the Fiber Shingding. I went to the Shingding in the search for particular yarn to do Nancy Wheeler's new sock pattern with. Breast cancer themed socks. Every April for the past 3 years, she's released one as a fundraiser for the Canadian Cancer Society. And all of her proceeds from the first couple of weeks of April are donated to the Cancer Society. Last year, I knit her previous year's release, the Tits Up socks. This year's pattern is called Boobles. And here's a picture. The name comes from the baubles down the leg, which will now be known as Boobles. So I purchased this yarn for the main color. It's hand dyed by the Fiber Goddess on 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon sock base in the colorway Whisper of Desire, which has to do with Johnny Rose from the Canadian TV show Schitt's Creek in 2019. So that'll be the base of the sock. Coincidentally, I do have a similar color in my stash, but I am very glad to have supported our local fiber festivals. I will pair it with these leftover scraps, of which I think I have enough. The pattern calls for a 25 grams gain of a contrast color, and this is weighing out to 23 grams. So we'll see if it's enough. If it's not, I'll have to make some adjustments on the toes. It's a cuff down pattern, so I can make the toes match if I have to. So this is leftover from my 2023 Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, the Geo Gradient shawl. I don't recall which fiber it is, which designer it is from, but that should pair nicely. Don't you think? Let's take some out of the bag and get a better look. So that'll be the heels and toes and a pop of color on the cuff. Okay, and I bought this skein from a sales bin. It's from Sea Turtle Fibers, which I have used their yarn in the past on their Ridley sock base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I have no project in mind for it. I just enjoyed it. It's called Sandcastle, and my mind is so focused on going to Hawaii next week. So I bought that from the sales bin. And then another thing I was specifically on the hunt for at the Fiber Festival was a drop spindle. Oh my dear, I've forgotten who I bought it from. I feel like his name was Dan. He's at the Fiber Festivals, all of them locally. Oh dear. If I figure it out, I will put it in the description box below. But Love the carving on it. I haven't gotten back into spinning since I took the class at the PEI Fiber Festival back in September. But I will get back to it someday. It's pretty gorgeous. Very light though. I don't know how that's going to suit me, but we could add weight to it as we use it. And then let's look at the grab bag I won, the door prize. So what they did is when you came in and paid your entry fee, you got a little ticket with a number on it, of course, from the rolls of tickets. And then you went to their table, and on the wall they had listed, they had already drawn the prizes that win. So if your ticket number showed up on that wall, you got a prize. So this was prize number 5. So let's see what it contains. Yarn, of course. This is from Nomad Fiberworks. It's a 2-ply. Stormy Sky is the colorway. It's a merino wool. It's a bulky weight. So, hat, mittens, I don't know. It'll sit in my stash for a while, and then we'll see. And a little cloth pouch that snaps together. I guess a yarn cozy. It's not a hot microwave bowl, is it? A microwave pot holder? I don't know. But I think a ball of yarn in it would be nice. Then you can just, yeah, we'll see. But it's a very pretty fabric. I love those colors. It's all yarn, see? Very nice. Is there a tag? I think there was a tag in it when my daughter and I were looking at it. Let's see if it's in here. Lotus Stitching. I think this is the card that was inside it. Assuming it was meant to be inside it. Lotus Stitching. Then the card has a stitch marker on it. Very nice. And what else we've got? We've got some spinning fiber. Isn't that pretty? It gradiates from a orange to some reds to a purple. Isn't that just perfect? It's from 2 Times Infinity. I need my glasses. No, that's just the website, which I will link below. Oh, here we go. Colorway. Frick. It's handwritten. Fire in My Belly. 30 grams. Fiber content is 80% merino wool, 20% silk. It is so soft. Very silky soft. Excellent. And we've got some more stitch markers from Flutter Bees. Flutter Bees. I guess those are little bees. Not quite sure what's on them. And a stitch marker from Blossom Stitch Co. and a pin. Is that a turtle? Yeah, I think that's a turtle, because one, or it could be a flower. I may put that on a jacket. A very nice gift prize. I like it. So, Michael's, at Michael's, I bought knitting needles, 2.25 for the socks. Because like I said, did I say? The ones on my current sock project are both from sets, and I don't want to lose them. And who knows what rules TSA is going to impose next week. So I wanted plastic or wooden. And the Michael's website said that these were plastic, but they're not. They're aluminum. But I bought them anyway for $9.99 or something like that. Did I use a coupon? I think I might have used a 30% off coupon. So I'll use these for the airplane just in case that they might get taken away. And that brings us to the color of the month from Ancient Art Yarns. And I know some of you leave me here because I always read the inspiration from the dyers, and some of you find joy in knowing what their inspiration was behind the color choices. If you're leaving now, that's fine. I just want to say goodbye, happy knitting, and go find some joy. And this is the April color of the month. It's called Spindle Tree from Ancient Art Yarns on their Sock Nato blend. And I will read the blurb that came from their email to the subscribers. Our April color of the month comes from a walk our dyer Megan took in Toronto one day. I'll let Megan tell you about it in their own words. I was on a walk through a park in Toronto and was stopped by this fascinating tree. Thoughts raced through my head as I processed what I was seeing. The tree had these bizarre spots of vivid color that looked like flowers from a distance and were very odd, and it really looked like a fake tree covered in gummy bears. As I got closer, I realized that what I saw were cute little flowers that had split open with berries poking out. The experience of the walk and the tree that was so unusual stayed with Megan, and since April is a month of spring bursting forward where we live, it was impossible to resist the memory of this beautiful tree. We did some research to find out what this beautiful tree is, and it turns out it's called a spindle tree. The spindle tree has a fascinating history that makes it a perfect inspiration for a yarn colorway. The spindle tree is so named because historically its smooth, straight wood was used for making spindles for spinning wool, back before the days of spinning wheels. There are examples of spindles from archaeological digs that are made with spindle wood, and it would have been a wonderful labor-saving material as it would make balancing an item that rotates much more easy to do. It is very common for spinning-related imagery to appear historically because the craft of spinning and later knitting and crochet was associated with virtue, hard work, and traditional values. The tree itself was valued for its wood, and when something went wrong with the tree, this was dire indeed, and so it found its way into legend and myth. The tree appears in Greek mythology, where it is thought to be the creation of Euonyme, Euonyme, the mother of the Furies, because its fruits are poisonous, and the juice from the berries was often used to poison the tips of arrows. In the Middle Ages, an early flowering of the spindle tree was believed to signify an outbreak of the plague. Overall, the spindle tree is a fascinating and evocative plant, and with its history makes for beautiful and intriguing inspiration. So yes, that is very pretty. I'm not a green person, but maybe someday somebody will find a use for it in a project. I mean, maybe someday it will go into a cardigan. In the meanwhile, on the shelf it goes, to enjoy, to look at, to feel. Okay, that concludes this episode. So thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed seeing my projects, please give me a thumbs up. And please tell me in the comments below what has been bringing you joy this week. Happy knitting, crocheting, beading, embroidery, sewing, whatever it is you like to do, go make some joy.